Okay, lesson 84, we're going to talk about identifying quadratic functions and what it means to be quadratic. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a couple characteristics. Quadratic functions are going to have an x squared term. It has to have a term that's squared. That means that the degree will always be 2. This will be the highest power you have in a quadratic function. So your degree will be 2. And then we have standard form. So our standard form of a quadratic would be ax squared plus bx plus c. So if you get it into standard form, you can always decide whether it's quadratic or not. So we're going to ask that same question. Is the following function quadratic? Well, we have y plus 7x equals 4x squared minus 6. That's not in standard form. We need y all alone. So we're going to subtract 7x. When we subtract 7x, we have a 4x squared minus 7x minus 6. This looks like standard form of a quadratic. It has degree 2. We have that squared term, so it is quadratic. Let's look at another example. Okay, still not in still not in standard form. So we're going to take and solve for y. So we're going to add this 2x cubed to the other side. Negative 5x cubed plus 2x cubed gives us negative 3x cubed. We still have that plus x squared. Now, this is in standard form. We have an x squared term, but is that the highest degree? No. Our degree would be 3, and we said to be quadratic, the degree has to be 2. So this is not a quadratic function because our degree is 3. I want you guys to decide if this function is quadratic. Y equals 5 plus 2x. Okay, we're going to look at the graph of a quadratic. No matter what kind of a quadratic you have, when you graph it, it's going to be a parabola. So a parabola looks like a U. It's going to be a U-shaped graph. We're going to look at something called a parent function. So parent function is the most basic form of a graph. So we're going to look at the most basic parabola we have. Well, that's y equals x squared because we're not adding or subtracting, multiplying, or dividing by anything. Well, in order to graph this, we have to make an xy table. We don't know anything about it, so we make an xy table. I'm going to choose these x values, and you're going to choose these x values also. 0 is always going to be our center. We're going to pick some negative, some positive values. Okay, you don't have to have a lot. I want you to at least have 5 points, and right now these are our easiest. Some negative, 0 is always easy, some positive. Now to get our y value, we're going to take this x and plug it right back into our equation. So we're going to take negative 2 squared, which gives us 4. Then we're going to plug in negative 1 and square it, positive 1. 0 squared is 0, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4. When you go to plot, negative 2, positive 4, negative 2, up 4, negative 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4. Here is that parabola. Looks like a U. Okay, that is our parent function. We're going to graph another one. Now we're going to graph negative 3x squared. Still need to make a table. Notice our x values are still the same. You're going to plug negative 2 in for x. If you follow order of operations, we're going to square negative 2, so that'd be 4. Then multiply by negative 3, gets negative 12. Square negative 1, that gives us positive 1, times negative 3, negative 3. Plug the rest of these in, you get similar values, so 0, negative 3, and negative 12. If we go to plot that, we still have a parabola. This time our parabola opens down. So we're going to talk about what's the difference between a parabola facing up, pointing upward, and a parabola facing down. Okay, so in order to talk about that direction of our parabola, whether it goes up or down, we go back to our standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. If this a value, if that leading coefficient is greater than 0, it will point up. So if it's positive, if it's bigger than 0, it will point up. If that a value is less than 0, it will always open down. Okay? So let's look at an example. Is this function going to open up or down? Will it be a parabola opening up or down? Well, we need to write it in standard form. When you rewrite it, you get a negative x squared plus 3x plus 5. Our a value is -1. So up here, a negative value tells us it will open down. So this parabola will open down. And last but not least, I want you guys to decide whether this parabola will open up or whether it will open down.